The African savanna unfurls beneath the awakening sky, a boundless expanse of gold and ochre, where the first light of dawn spills across the land like molten metal. Wisps of mist drift above the dew-laden grasses, and the silhouettes of acacia trees stand sentinel, their umbrella canopies etched against the horizon. This is a landscape sculpted by time itself, where every sunrise reveals a tapestry woven from countless generations of life and survival. The air is crisp, tinged with the earthy scent of damp soil and wild grasses, promising a day filled with both tranquility and the pulse of untamed energy. This is the Serengeti, a realm where the horizon stretches unbroken, and the grasslands ripple in the wind like a living ocean. Scattered acacias and ancient kopjes rise from the plains, offering shelter and vantage points to the creatures that roam here. The Serengeti is a living archive, its very soil holding the footprints of countless migrations, hunts, and births. It is a place where the cycles of nature play out on a grand scale, each day echoing the rhythms of the past. Here, the tempo of life is set by the elements. The sun's relentless arc brings searing heat by midday, while distant thunderheads gather, promising the life-giving rains that transform the plains. With each passing season, the Serengeti is reborn. The dry months bleach the grasses to pale straw, while the rains awaken a lush emerald carpet, dotted with wildflowers and alive with the hum of insects. The interplay of light and shadow, the ever-shifting weather, and the dance of clouds across the sky create a landscape in constant motion, never the same from one moment to the next. At midday, the savanna appears deceptively still, the heat shimmering above the grasses. Yet beneath this calm, life thrives in quiet abundance. Herds of antelope graze in the distance, their tawny coats blending seamlessly with the sunlit grass. Birds flit from branch to branch, their calls echoing across the open spaces, while reptiles bask on warm rocks, motionless, but ever alert. Even when the landscape seems empty, it is alive with hidden movement and silent anticipation. A giraffe, towering and graceful, moves with deliberate elegance through the trees. Its long, prehensile tongue curls around the thorny branches of an acacia, expertly stripping the tender leaves while avoiding the sharp spines. Each movement is a testament to the evolutionary arms race between plant and herbivore, a delicate balance that has shaped both over millennia. The giraffe's patterned coat, dappled with sunlight, offers camouflage among the shifting shadows. In the distance, a matriarch leads her elephant herd across the open plain, their massive forms casting long shadows on the ground. The elephants move with a quiet determination, their trunks sampling the air for the scent of water. As they approach a waterhole, the younger calves playfully splash and trumpet, while the adults drink deeply, their presence a reminder of the interconnectedness of all life here. The elephant's passage leaves behind trails and waterholes that sustain countless other species, their impact on the landscape both profound and enduring. The Serengeti is a stage for the eternal drama of predator and prey. In the tall grass, a lioness crouches low, her golden eyes fixed on a herd of wildebeest. Every muscle is tensed, every movement calculated. The wildebeest, ever wary, graze in tight formation, their ears flicking at the slightest sound. The tension is palpable, a silent contest of patience and instinct that plays out countless times each day, shaping the destinies of both hunter and hunted. Beneath the feet of giants, the smallest inhabitants toil tirelessly. Dung beetles roll their precious cargo across the earth, recycling nutrients and aerating the soil. Termites build intricate mounds that rise like miniature fortresses, providing shelter for a multitude of creatures. Insects, birds, and reptiles form a complex web of interactions, each species playing a vital role in maintaining the health and balance of the ecosystem. The land itself is an active force, shaping the lives of its inhabitants. Rivers carve winding paths through the plains, their banks lined with lush vegetation that draws animals from miles around. Seasonal floods and fires renew the soil, ensuring that the cycle of life continues. The Serengeti is not merely a setting, but a living participant in the unfolding story of survival and adaptation. Across the vastness, herds of wildebeest, zebra, and gazelle move in unison, their migrations a breathtaking spectacle of endurance and instinct. These journeys, driven by the search for fresh grazing and water, are among the greatest natural events on Earth. Each animal faces countless hazards, swift rivers, lurking predators, and the relentless demands of the environment. Yet the urge to move, to survive, is irresistible. The Serengeti is a land of contrasts, where moments of profound peace are shattered in an instant by the chase, where the gentle hush of dawn gives way to the thunder of hooves and the roar of predators. Every sunrise brings the promise of new beginnings, and every sunset closes another chapter in the endless saga of life. Here, the story of the wild is written anew each day, in the tracks left behind and the lives that endure. The Serengeti awakens beneath a delicate veil of morning mist, its vast plains stretching endlessly beneath a sky brushed with the first gentle colors of dawn. The silence is deep and ancient, broken only by the faintest whisper of wind as it glides over the golden grasses. For a fleeting moment, the world is suspended in a tranquil stillness, as if nature itself is pausing to gather strength for the spectacle about to unfold. The first sign of change is subtle, a ripple through the dry grass, a shiver of anticipation carried on the breeze. Small birds flit between the stalks, alert to the shifting energy in the air. In the distance, the faint rhythmic drumming of hooves begins to build, growing steadily louder as the herds stir from their slumber. Suddenly the plains come alive. Wildebeest, their bodies lean and powerful, surge forward in unison, their hooves churning the earth into swirling clouds of dust. Zebras, with their striking black and white stripes, weave through the mass, their calls sharp and urgent. The herds move as a single living entity, each animal attuned to the movements of its neighbors, responding to subtle cues and signals that ripple through the crowd. Over 1.5 million wildebeest, accompanied by hundreds of thousands of zebras and gazelles, form a vast, undulating river of life. From above, the migration appears as a living tapestry, patterns shifting and reforming as the animals flow across the landscape. Each individual is driven by an ancient, unspoken knowledge, a deep-rooted instinct that guides them toward the promise of rain and renewal. The landscape itself is transformed by the migration. The parched earth, cracked and brittle from months of drought, is soon softened by the arrival of distant storms. Dark clouds gather on the horizon, and the first drops of rain fall, bringing with them the scent of new grass and the hope of sustenance. The animals sense this change long before it is visible, their movements synchronized with the rhythm of the seasons. The journey follows a time-honored path, a sweeping arc that stretches for hundreds of kilometers across the Serengeti and into the Masai Mara. This route, etched into memory by countless generations, is dictated by the search for water and grazing. The herds navigate by instinct, their progress marked by the changing patterns of light, the scent of rain on the wind, and the subtle cues of the land itself. Within the herds, each animal is both leader and follower. Wildebeest calves, barely a few months old, keep close to their mothers, learning the ancient ways of survival. Zebras form tight-knit family groups, their heads held high as they scan the horizon for danger. Gazelles, nimble and alert, dart through the throng, ever watchful for predators. The faces of the migrating animals reveal a quiet determination, a blend of caution, resilience, and unwavering purpose. Yet the journey is fraught with peril. Rivers swollen by recent rains become formidable barriers, their muddy waters concealing lurking crocodiles. The herds gather at the banks, tension mounting as they sense the danger ahead. Some hesitate, pacing nervously along the edge, while others plunge forward, driven by the urgency of survival. The crossing is a test of courage and endurance, a dramatic confrontation between life and death that will determine the fate of thousands. As the herds surge northward, the ground trembles beneath thousands of pounding hooves. Dust rises in swirling clouds, veiling the horizon as wildebeests, zebras and gazelles move in a restless tide, their bodies pressed close together for safety. The savanna transforms before them. Parched grass gives way to patches of emerald, acacia trees dotting the landscape, signaling the promise of water and fresh grazing ahead. The Masai Mara awaits, its rolling plains lush and vibrant, a sanctuary of abundance. Calves press against their mothers, instinctively seeking protection as the herd weaves through the tall grass. Yet, between them and salvation lies the Mara River, a churning, unpredictable force. Its muddy waters conceal hidden dangers, the currents swift and unforgiving. The air is thick with anxiety. Ears flick, nostrils flare, and every animal is on edge, their senses sharpened by the scent of water and the memory of past crossings. Step by cautious step, the herd inches forward. The leaders hesitate at the river's edge, their bodies tense, eyes scanning for any sign of threat. The mass of animals swells, bodies pressing together in a restless, shifting sea. Each movement sends ripples of agitation through the herd. They pace along the eroded banks, hooves slipping on loose soil, the ground crumbling beneath their weight as they search for a safe crossing. Eyes fix on the swirling water, every animal aware of the peril that lurks below. The river's reputation as a killer is etched into their instincts. The tension is electric. At any moment, a single leap, born of fear or boldness, will unleash the chaos of the crossing, and the river will claim its due. The Mara River carves a winding path through the heart of the savanna, its waters sustaining life across the plains. Yet for the migrating herds, this river is both a vital artery and a formidable adversary. When the migration arrives, the Mara transforms into a gauntlet of peril. Wildebeest and zebra plunge into the churning water, driven by instinct and the pressure of the herd behind them. Many are immediately caught in the grip of the current, their hooves slipping on unseen rocks below. The river's force is relentless. Powerful, unpredictable currents drag the weakest downstream, separating mothers from calves in seconds. Some animals are pulled under by whirlpools, their desperate struggles vanishing beneath the surface. The riverbed is a hidden minefield. Jagged rocks, tangled roots and fallen branches snag legs and trap the unwary. Animals slip and tumble down the slick, muddy banks, some breaking limbs before they even reach the water. The crossing itself is chaos incarnate. The thunder of hooves, the spray of water, and the cries of panic fill the air. In the crush, some animals are trampled by their own kind, lost beneath the surge of bodies. Terror is etched on every face. The animals hesitate at the water's edge, their bodies quivering with anxiety. Each step forward is a leap of faith into the unknown, where danger lurks with every surge of the current. The Mara is more than a physical barrier. It is a test of resolve, a psychological wall that sows hesitation and panic among the herds. Some falter, turning back, while others are swept forward by the momentum of the group. Those who survive the crossing emerge battered and spent, their bodies caked in mud, sides heaving with exhaustion. Each survivor is a testament to the raw endurance, strength and unyielding will to live demanded by the Mara's treacherous embrace. Beneath the muddy waters of the Mara, a more ancient and patient danger lies in wait. Nile crocodiles, unchanged for millions of years, are perfectly adapted for ambush. The Mara River is home to some of Africa's largest Nile crocodiles, with some individuals exceeding 16 feet in length and weighing over 1,000 pounds. These apex predators can live for over 70 years, growing larger and more formidable with each passing season. When the migration arrives, The crocodile's patience is rewarded. They remain motionless for hours, conserving energy until the first wildebeest steps into the water. Then, in a sudden burst of speed, they launch their attack. Their jaws, among the most powerful in the animal kingdom, can exert a bite force of over 5,000 pounds per square inch, enough to crush bone instantly. Their strike is both precise and devastating, evolved for maximum efficiency. The chaos of the crossing provides perfect cover. In the confusion, crocodiles single out the weak, the young, or the unlucky, dragging them beneath the surface in a matter of seconds. Feeding frenzies erupt as multiple crocodiles converge on a single victim. Their powerful tails and armored bodies make them nearly unstoppable in the water, and their ability to hold their breath for up to 2 hours allows them to outlast any struggle. The wildebeest sense the danger, hesitating at the riverbank, but the need to cross is overwhelming. The river becomes a gauntlet, with crocodiles hidden beneath the surface, invisible until the moment they strike. As guardians of the crossing, Nile crocodiles play a crucial role in the ecosystem. By preying on the migrating herds, they help maintain the balance of life along the river, enforcing the harsh but necessary laws of the savanna. The perils for the migrating herds do not end at the water's edge. Once they scramble up the muddy banks, a new set of threats awaits them. Predators that have mastered the art of ambush. Lions, the undisputed apex predators of the savanna, are drawn to the Mara River in impressive numbers during the migration. Lionesses, the primary hunters, position themselves with calculated precision along the likely exit points, anticipating where the weakest and most vulnerable animals will emerge. The wildebeest and zebras, drained from their struggle against the current and the chaos of the crossing, are often disoriented and slow to react. This exhaustion makes them easy targets for the waiting predators. Lions employ remarkable patience and teamwork. Hidden in the tall grasses and dense vegetation, they use the terrain to conceal their approach. With silent communication, they coordinate flanking maneuvers, isolating a single animal from the herd before launching a swift, decisive attack. Hyenas, renowned for their endurance and formidable bite, patrol the fringes of the crossing. They are opportunists, ready to chase down stragglers or scavenge from the remains of a lion kill. Their keen senses allow them to detect distress and chaos, honing in on the most vulnerable. Leopards, elusive and solitary, exploit the confusion of the crossing. From the shadows or the vantage of an acacia tree, they wait for the perfect moment to strike, relying on stealth and explosive speed to capture smaller prey or young animals separated from the herd. Above, vultures circle in anticipation, their sharp eyes scanning for any sign of a fresh kill. The ground is stained with the evidence of recent hunts, as predators and scavengers converge on the remains. This dramatic phase of the migration reveals the intricate balance of the ecosystem, where every predator and scavenger plays a vital role in the cycle of life and death along the Mara River. In the heart of the migration, the Mara River stands as a formidable barrier, its swirling currents and steep banks a gauntlet that only the boldest dare to cross. The air is thick with tension as thousands of wildebeest gather, their bodies pressed tightly together, eyes wide with a mixture of terror and resolve. Each animal senses the danger, the invisible line between survival and disaster. Among the mass, one wildebeest inches forward, hooves trembling at the precipice. Instinct and necessity wage war within, but the urge to move, to follow the ancient path, is irresistible. The herd holds its breath, waiting for a sign. Suddenly, the leader leaps, a blur of muscle and courage suspended above the churning water. In that instant, fear is shattered, the spell is broken, and the herd surges forward, driven by the primal need to stay together. The instinct to remain with the group is overwhelming. Each animal is compelled by the safety of numbers, knowing that hesitation could mean being left behind, or worse, becoming prey. Mothers nudge their calves forward, their eyes scanning the river for threats. The young stumble and falter, but the bond between mother and calf is unbreakable. Every step is a battle against the current, every breath a fight for survival. Alongside the wildebeest, zebras gather, their striped bodies tense with anticipation. They, too, must summon their courage, relying on sharp senses and unwavering determination to navigate the perilous crossing. The leap itself is a moment of pure instinct, a split-second decision where hesitation vanishes and survival takes over. Muscles coil and release, propelling bodies through the air and into the unknown. In this breathtaking display of unity and bravery, wildebeest and zebra alike plunge into the turbulent waters. Each leap is a testament to the power of instinct, the relentless drive to endure, and the unbreakable spirit of the wild. The Mara River crossing is a crucible of survival, lasting for hours as thousands of wildebeest and zebras surge through the churning, silt-laden waters. The air vibrates with the thunder of hooves and the frantic calls of animals, each one locked in a desperate struggle against the relentless current. The river's depth and unpredictable flow test every muscle and instinct, while lurking crocodiles and opportunistic predators add a constant threat from below and along the banks. Many animals are forced to swim for their lives, their bodies battered by submerged rocks and the crush of the herd. Some falter, swept downstream by the force of the water, but the majority are propelled forward by a powerful ancient drive to reach the safety of the opposite shore. After an ordeal that can last from minutes to hours, the final survivors claw their way up the muddy, treacherous riverbank, their bodies slick with water and mud, hearts pounding with exhaustion and relief. On the far bank, the survivors gather in tight clusters, their flanks heaving as they gasp for air. Many collapse onto the grass, their legs trembling from fatigue and stress. The herd instinctively regroups, forming a protective barrier around the youngest and most vulnerable members. This moment of respite is crucial. The animals must recover quickly, as predators often patrol the river's edge, waiting for stragglers or the weak. The survivors nuzzle and groom each other, reinforcing social bonds that are vital for the cohesion and safety of the group. The sense of relief is palpable, but it is tempered by the knowledge of those lost and the challenges that still lie ahead on the endless plains. The river, however, is unforgiving. Scattered along its banks and caught in eddies are the bodies of those who did not survive. Some were claimed by the powerful jaws of Nile crocodiles, whose ambush tactics are honed by generations of predation. Others succumb to exhaustion, injury, or the overwhelming force of the current. The Mara's waters, once a barrier to be crossed, now cradle the remains of the fallen. Their lifeless forms are stark testament to the perilous nature of this migration. These casualties are not wasted. They are the beginning of a new chapter in the ecosystem's cycle. The presence of carcasses along the riverbank signals a vital transfer of energy within the ecosystem. Scavenger birds, such as vultures and marabou storks, are among the first to arrive, their keen eyesight allowing them to spot the remains from great distances. These birds play a critical role in the savanna, rapidly locating and consuming dead animals before disease can spread. Their arrival marks the beginning of a complex process of decomposition and nutrient recycling, which is essential for the health of the grasslands. Vultures, with their powerful beaks and highly acidic stomachs, are uniquely adapted to consume carrion that would be toxic to most other animals. They strip away flesh and muscle, leaving little behind. Marabou storks, with their imposing size and strong bills, join the feast, often dominating smaller scavengers. This rapid consumption of remains not only provides sustenance for these birds, but also prevents the spread of pathogens, maintaining the delicate balance of the ecosystem. As the birds finish their work, terrestrial scavengers move in. Spotted hyenas, with their powerful jaws capable of crushing bone, consume what remains of the carcasses, including skin, cartilage, and even hooves. Jackals, smaller but equally opportunistic, scavenge for scraps, often working in pairs or small groups. These mammals are essential for breaking down tougher tissues and dispersing bones across the landscape, further aiding in nutrient distribution. The efficiency of the savanna's scavengers is remarkable. Within hours, a carcass can be reduced to a skeleton, and within days, even the bones are gnawed and scattered. Insects, such as beetles and ants, continue the process, breaking down the last remnants and returning vital minerals to the soil. This rapid decomposition is crucial in the nutrient-poor soils of the savanna, ensuring that nothing is wasted and that the cycle of life continues unbroken. The nutrients released from the decomposing bodies enrich the riverbank and surrounding grasslands. Nitrogen, phosphorus, and other elements are absorbed by the soil, fueling the growth of new grasses and plants. These lush patches become vital grazing grounds for the returning herds, supporting not only wildebeest and zebras, but also gazelles, antelopes, and a myriad of smaller herbivores. The cycle of death and renewal is thus completed, with each generation of animals depending on the sacrifices of those that came before. Along the banks of the Mara, the intricate web of life is on full display. Survivors graze on the revitalized grass, while predators and scavengers fulfill their roles in the ecosystem. Every species, from the largest herbivore to the smallest insect, is interconnected in this grand cycle. The river, both a barrier and a giver of life, shapes the destiny of all who depend on it. Here, the circle of life is not just a concept, but a daily reality, one that sustains the breathtaking diversity and resilience of the African savanna. As the great herds move on, an extraordinary silence settles over the riverbanks, broken only by the distant call of a fish-eagle and the gentle lapping of water against stone. The air is cool and heavy with the scent of damp earth, as if the land itself is exhaling after the chaos. The dust, once churned by thousands of hooves, now settles in quiet layers. The river, momentarily undisturbed, mirrors the endless sky and the golden plains, its surface broken only by the occasional ripple of a crocodile or the flash of a kingfisher diving for prey. Across the savanna, the grass sways in a gentle breeze, carrying with it the faint scent of migration. The land, scarred by the passage of millions, returns to a state of watchful calm. Scattered herds of antelope and zebra emerge, treading carefully over the well-worn trails. The landscape bears silent witness to the journey. Trails etched into the earth, riverbanks carved by desperate hooves, and the faint imprints of thousands of lives intertwined in a single, epic passage. Deep grooves in the earth and sun-bleached bones tell the story of survival and loss. Each remnant is a testament to the relentless challenge faced by every creature that braved the crossing. To witness the great migration is to stand in awe of nature's raw power and resilience. The herds, now distant, leave behind a transformed landscape, one shaped by their passage and the eternal rhythm of the wild. Here, the struggle for survival never ceases. Predators and scavengers move in the wake of the migration, each playing their part in the endless dance between life and death. The savanna keeps its secrets beneath a sky of shifting light and shadow, a land of breathtaking beauty and unforgiving reality, where every echo tells a story of endurance and change. As darkness falls across the Serengeti, a new challenge emerges for the migrating herds. The sun's final rays surrender to a deep indigo sky, and the savanna transforms into a realm of shadows and heightened senses. For wildebeest, zebra, and gazelle, the cover of night offers no respite, only new dangers concealed beneath the velvet blackness. With vision limited, the herds rely on their finely tuned instincts. Ears swivel, picking up the faintest rustle of grass or the distant snap of a twig. The soft padding of countless hooves is punctuated by anxious snorts and low calls, a secret language guiding one another through the darkness. Eyes, adapted to low light, scan for movement, catching the briefest glint of a predator's gaze, or the subtle silhouette of a hunting cat. Predators too thrive in the night, Lions, with their extraordinary night vision, become silent phantoms, blending seamlessly into the tall grass. Hyenas prowl in loose packs, communicating with eerie whoops and cackles that echo across the plains. Leopards, solitary and elusive, melt into the shadows, their padded steps almost inaudible. For the herds, every shadow could conceal a threat, and every breath is drawn with caution. Even the air changes at night, cool, damp, and heavy with the scent of life and death. The herds move more slowly, clustering tightly for safety, their bodies pressed close to shield the young and the weak. Some pause to graze, but always with one eye open, senses straining for the telltale signs of danger. Crickets sing their relentless chorus, masking the soft approach of predators. A distant roar ripples through the night, answered by the alarmed snorts of the herd. In these hours, survival depends on more than strength. It is a test of vigilance, cooperation, and the ancient wisdom etched into every instinct. By dawn, those who endure emerge into the pale light, weary but alive. The night has claimed its due, but the journey continues, a relentless push forward, guided by the promise of greener pastures and the unbreakable will to survive. As the first light of dawn stretches across the Serengeti, another force silently shapes the fate of the Great Migration, nature itself. The weather and the rivers are more than backdrops to this journey. They are powerful actors, dictating the rhythm and route of every hoofbeat. The migration is timed with the rains, a seasonal heartbeat that transforms the landscape. When the skies open, life flourishes. The parched earth drinks deeply, grasslands erupt in a green tide, and temporary rivers snake across the savanna. For the herds, the rains are both a signal and a lifeline. Wildebeest, zebras, and gazelles have adapted to read the subtle cues of shifting winds and distant thunder, setting off in anticipation of fresh grazing grounds. But the weather is unpredictable. Sudden storms can scatter the herds, drenching them in sheets of rain while lightning fractures the sky. The animals' coats, evolved to repel water, shed the worst of the downpour, but the youngest and weakest often struggle. In the chill that follows a storm, the herds huddle close, sharing warmth and sheltering calves beneath their bodies. Then there are the rivers, natural barriers that must be crossed, regardless of their mood. The Mara River, swollen by rainfall, becomes a torrent, its currents swift and unforgiving. Wildebeest approach with caution, their senses attuned to the vibration of the water and the scent of danger on the breeze. Some test the current, stepping gingerly along the banks. Their instincts guide them to the safest crossing points, where the water runs shallowest or where the riverbed offers firm footing. Yet, even the most experienced can falter. A misjudged leap, a sudden surge in the current, and a strong swimmer can be swept downstream. Calves cling to their mothers, learning to read the river's moods, waiting for the moment when the flow slackens, or using the eddies and calmer pools to rest before pushing onward. Each species has its own strategy. Zebras, with their powerful legs and social bonds, often lead the way, forming tight lines that cut through the water. Wildebeest, driven by sheer numbers, follow in waves, their collective movement disrupting the current and creating fleeting bridges of bodies for others to cross. Above all, adaptation is key. The animals of the Serengeti have learned to respect the forces of weather and water, adjusting their pace, altering their paths, and relying on deep-rooted instincts honed by generations of survival. In the face of nature's unpredictability, their journey is a testament to resilience, a dance with the elements, always moving forward, always seeking life beyond the horizon. Beneath the pounding hooves and swirling dust of the Great Migration, an intricate web of life is woven, one that stretches far beyond the migrating herds. Every movement of wildebeest, zebra, and gazelle triggers a cascade of changes across the Serengeti's vast ecosystem, shaping both flora and fauna in profound ways. As the herds graze, they trim back the tall grasses, spurring a flush of new growth. This fresh vegetation nourishes countless smaller creatures, grasshoppers, beetles, and butterflies, whose populations surge in the wake of the migration. Birds, from the stately secretary bird to the jewel-toned bee-eater, follow in their wake, capitalizing on the abundance of insects stirred up by the herd's passage. The grazer's relentless advance also creates open clearings, allowing sunlight to reach seeds that have lain dormant in the soil. This sunlight sparks germination, and soon wildflowers and young shrubs carpet the plains. Browsers such as impala and giraffe are drawn to these tender shoots, while elephants move through the rejuvenated landscape, felling small trees and further shaping the vegetation mosaic. Predators, too, are part of this living tapestry. Jackals and hyenas trail the migration, relying not just on the hunt, but on the remains left behind. Vultures descend from the sky, their sharp eyes detecting even the faintest sign of a carcass. In this way, nutrients are swiftly recycled, returning to the earth and nourishing the next generation of plants. Even the smallest creatures play a vital role. Dung beetles, for instance, seize upon the abundance of droppings, rolling and burying them to feed their young. In doing so, they aerate the soil and disperse seeds, ensuring the health and diversity of the grasslands. Waterholes, churned by thousands of hooves, become lifelines for frogs and fish, while muddy banks offer nesting sites for birds and burrowing grounds for crabs and insects. Here, the interactions are subtle yet essential, each species influencing the fate of others in ways both visible and hidden. This intricate dance is a testament to the resilience and interdependence of life on the savanna. The migration is not merely a journey of survival for the herds, it is the heartbeat of the Serengeti itself, sustaining a living tapestry where every thread, no matter how small, has its place. As the rains retreat and the once verdant Mara begins to dry, a subtle shift stirs across the savanna. The great herds, wildebeest, zebra, and gazelle, sense the change, driven by instinct and the promise of renewal. The return journey begins a mirror to the migration's initial surge, yet marked by transformation at every step. Across the plains, the landscape wears the scars and blessings of recent abundance. Grasses once cropped short by countless mouths now stand tall in patches, their seed heads swaying golden in the wind. The earth is hardened by hooves, but dotted with emerald, where rain still lingers in shallow depressions. The air hums with the sound of insects, crickets, cicadas, and bees, drawn to the fleeting blooms that mark the path home. Predators, too, recalibrate their strategies. Lions lounge in the shade, bellies full after weeks of easy hunting, now awaiting opportunities among the stragglers. Cheetahs drift along the herd's flanks, eyes keen for the weak or the young. Hyenas and jackals, ever resourceful, trail at a distance, scavenging where they can. As the herds move, a ripple of life follows. Flocks of cattle, egrets and oxpeckers ride the backs of grazing animals, feasting on disturbed insects and parasites. The river crossings, once sites of peril, are now quieter, the crocodiles sated and fewer in number, the banks littered with the bones of those who did not survive the first crossing. Even the skies shift as migratory birds depart their role in the ecosystem, complete for another season. Elephants meander along the fringes, breaking branches to access hidden moisture, while giraffes stretch for the last leaves on acacia trees, their silhouettes framed by the setting sun. The journey home is marked by a quiet urgency. Calves born during the migration now run with newfound strength, their survival a testament to the season's trials. Dust rises once more beneath 1,000 hooves, and the land, shaped by the passage of millions, prepares for a period of rest and regrowth. In these final miles, the Serengeti reveals its resilience. The cycles of life and death, scarcity and abundance continue. The homeward trek is not merely a return, it is a renewal, a promise that the heartbeat of the savanna endures, echoing across the endless plains, until the rains call the herds forth once more. Beneath the thunder of hooves and the drama of predator and prey, another battle rages, silent, relentless, and largely unseen. As the herds traverse the vast distances of the Serengeti, They are shadowed not just by hunters, but by invisible threats that test their endurance to the very limit. Disease weaves its way through the migration, striking without warning. In the swirling dust, pathogens thrive, spreading among the tightly packed herds as they cross muddy rivers and share dwindling waterholes. Foot-and-mouth disease, anthrax, and bovine tuberculosis slip through the ranks, weakening the strongest and claiming the frail. Sometimes a single infected animal can spark a chain reaction, and the toll is measured not in blood, but in quiet collapses at the margins of the march. Exhaustion, too, is a formidable adversary. The ceaseless journey, hundreds of miles under a merciless sun, wears down even the most seasoned travelers. Calves struggle to keep pace, while elders falter, their reserves depleted. Muscles strain, hooves crack, and every step becomes an act of willpower. Some animals, unable to continue, simply lie down, their journey ending where their strength fails them. Yet the migration is a story of resilience as much as it is of hardship. The herds press on, driven by instinct, hope, and the promise of greener pastures. The strong support the weak, mothers urging their young forward, even as fatigue threatens to overwhelm them. In these moments, the true character of the savannah is revealed, not just in the spectacle of survival, but in the quiet persistence of millions. For every animal lost, countless others endure. Their scars become stories etched into the fabric of the plains, a testament to the price of survival and to the unyielding spirit that keeps the migration alive, year after year. The unseen dangers may claim their share, but they cannot quench the pulse of life that surges through the Serengeti, carrying the herds onward in their timeless quest.